Hey everybody, this is Brother Paxton, and I'm standing in Rockbridge County, Virginia once again. We're winding down this 2-week trip out here this time, and I pray that some of the material will be a blessing to you, to your families, to your hearts, and to your lives. I was thinking about this in conversations that I've had over the past several months with believers, especially older believers, who express a bit of a trepidation about the way our world is today. And things are certainly different than when I was a boy, and many of you, I'm sure, can see it and feel the same way. But that is no cause for alarm and fear, really, not for the Christian, because we know who is in control of all things. God is in control. And we know that no matter what comes upon planet Earth, God has our back. I was reading in the Psalms last night from the New Living Translation, and I come across Psalm number 53. And I want to share that with you today. In the midst of a time in our world where men are mocking God, when men are trying to drown out the voices of Christianity in the world, and the persecution level is beginning to rise all over the globe today. But it's kind of like this is what God has to say about that. And so I want to share it with you from the New Living Translation, Psalm 53. Only fools say in their hearts, there is no God. Now, I didn't say that. Mister, I didn't call you a fool. But if you don't believe in God, if you say there is no God, then God calls you a fool. They are corrupt and their actions are evil. Not one of them does good. God looks down from heaven on the entire human race. He looks to see if anyone is truly wise, if anyone seeks God. But no, all have turned away, all have become corrupt. No one does good, not a single one. Now that's from God's perspective through the Psalm of David. Through David's voice comes God's perspective that in comparison to God's standard, none of us do good. None of us do well. And some of us have found the remedy. Some of us have received the remedy. I think there's been more gospel preached over the last 50 or 60 years than any other time in human history. And the knowledge of the gospel is out there. We've got to get it to those who haven't heard, and we've got to reinforce what people have heard before, even if it was such a far removed instance as the person was young and grandma took him to church. There was a seed planted by that we must water. We must reinforce that seed in our presentation of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And then it says in verse 4, will those who do evil never learn? They eat up my people like bread. And I'm just letting this sink in because this is what's happening in our world today. They wouldn't think of praying to God. Here's what God says. Terror will grip them. You think of it. Terror will grip them. Terror like they've never known before. God will scatter the bones of your enemies. You will put them to shame, for God has rejected them. Now, while we don't rejoice in the fact that terror will grip the evil people, those who have said in their hearts there is no God, we don't rejoice in the fact that they're going to have to go through that, but we are consoled in the fact that God is going to bring judgment to this planet and make things right. And so every insult that Christ suffers today, every mockery that God suffers at the hands of rebellious and wicked men today, one day they will give account for that. And they will stand in judgment for that. Jesus told us how to behave as we walk as sheep among wolves in this world. He told us to love our enemies, to pray for those who despitefully use us. He told us to turn the other cheek and go the extra mile. But payday is coming someday, and the children of Christ will be exalted while the children of this world will be brought low. And that is encouragement, that no matter what we see taking place in our world today, oh, friend of mine, no matter how out of place we feel, and in a way that's normal because we are not of this world. We are in it, but not of it. We are of another kingdom, and so we do feel out of place. And when they turn on us and they mock us and they castigate us and try to hurt us, casting some even into prison, putting some even to death, payday comes someday, and God will make it right. And so I am not afraid of the world I live in today. I am not afraid, I'm not trembling, because I know that God's in control and that I have a reward waiting for me if I will stay faithful to Christ. In verse 6, who will come from Mount Zion to rescue Israel? When God restores his people, Jacob will shout with joy and Israel will rejoice. There are those today who have tried with all of their power to dismantle every bit of Christian truth that this nation was built upon. But God is going to bring us back, and he's going to bring us back with joy. Whether it's in this lifetime or in the millennium, the gospel of Jesus Christ will prevail in America and all around the world. So you need to take heart today. If your place of employment, you're in a hard spot, and they ridicule your Christian faith, and they're hateful to you because of what you believe about marriage, or they're hateful to you because of what you believe about the sanctity of human life, etc. We could go on and on and on and name the attacks of the enemy that have come against us in this hour. You can take joy in the fact of knowing that you are on the winning team, Christian. You are on God's side. It doesn't matter what men say. It doesn't matter what people try to do to us. Our reward is coming. When Christ returns, he said in the Word of God, he brings the rewards with him. And so just stay ready, because rewards are coming. Christ is coming. We are about ready to enter into his glory and into his kingdom for all of eternity. From Rockbridge County, Virginia, this is Brother Paxton saying, go with God, and he will go with you. Bless you.